Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Adam Levine, and I am the Executive Director here at the New York Metropolitan Transportation Council, or NYMTC. As the Downstate Region's metropolitan planning organization, NYMTC provides a collaborative planning forum to address transportation-related issues and develop regional plans through our members' shared vision for the transportation network that connects New York City, Long Island, and the Lower Hudson Valley. Thank you all for participating in today's Brown Bag webinar. Please note that this webinar is eligible for one certification maintenance credit from the American Planning Association. You'll find more information about this in the chat. Today, we're very happy to hear from Susie Lai, who is a principal engineer in the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey's Traffic Engineering Division. Susie manages major redevelopment programs supporting critical infrastructure projects such as the Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Project and Newark Airport redevelopment, while leading a diverse team in delivering transportation planning and design solutions. Susie will provide an update of the EWR Station Access Project, an effort to create a new public entrance to the Newark Liberty International Airport rail station. She will highlight the community engagement and design process behind the project and explain how the project will improve connectivity and mobility for travelers heading from South Ward and North Elizabeth into Midtown Manhattan. There will be an opportunity for questions following the presentation, so please type your questions into the WebEx chat box, and we will address them during the question and answer portion towards the end of today's presentation. I also ask that you let us know via the chat who you are and where you are joining us from. This helps us learn more about our audience. Before I turn the microphone over to Susie, I'll just add a brief note to please stay tuned for our upcoming Brown Bag webinar and the last Brown Bag of 2025 on December 10th, when we will feature the New York City Department of Transportation's Way in Motion program. Information about this and other upcoming webinars can be found on our website, NYMTC.org. Thank you again for joining us today, and I will now turn the microphone over to Susie for her presentation. Susie?
Great. Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you for the great introduction, and thank you for the invitation to present on our project at Newark Airport. It's one of our prouder projects of late. You've heard a lot about our big projects, but this one, while it is small, it's still, I would argue, just as critically important as every other major redevelopment projects we've been doing of late. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and take you through what exactly this project is. All right, so just an overall overview of what I'm going to be going through today. I give you a brief introduction about who we are, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, give you an idea of what our project is about, what the scope of it is, and some of the community outreach work that we've done to support this project, which really led us into looking at how we designed this project for the greater community. So just a bit about the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. As you know, we are a bi-state agency. We handle essentially all of the facilities that cross the Hudson River. We were chartered as part of Congress in the early 1920s to help operate, maintain, and build and conceive infrastructure that's critical to New York and New Jersey region's trade and transportation network. So you can see a little bit of a facility map as to all the facilities that we handle, right? Our infrastructure include America's busiest airport system. We own, maintain, and operate Newark Liberty International Airport in New Jersey, JFK International Airport out in Queens, LaGuardia Airport out in Queens, as well as Teterboro Airport in New Jersey, and in upstate New York, Stewart International Airport. In addition to our airports, we also have marine terminals and ports, Port Newark, Port of Elizabeth. We have the New York container terminals as well. We own and operate PATH, the rail transit system that connects between New York and New Jersey via the World Trade Center stations, the 33rd Street stations over to Jersey City and Hoboken, as well as Newark. We own and operate 6 tunnels and bridges that connect between New York and New Jersey, our George Washington Bridge, Holland Lincoln tunnels, as well as our Staten Island crossings. We have 2 bus terminals, the Manhattan bus terminal that is in Midtown, the Midtown bus terminal that we are undergoing a redevelopment effort for right now, as well as the George Washington Bridge bus station up north in Washington Heights. And we also have the World Trade Center campus. So our portfolio is pretty big, but all of it is really dedicated to helping the region move, right? Our mission is to get the people and the goods to go where they need to go, whether it be by air, rail, land, or sea. We handle a little bit of everything. And so for the past 10 or plus years, You've heard a lot about the major reconstruction projects that we've been undergoing. We've had an ambitious portfolio of work because we recognize that our infrastructure is aging and we want to make sure we're bringing it up to standards for our communities of today. And we also want to make sure that we are building for the future. So back in 2016, we embarked on LaGuardia redevelopment projects, which wrapped up in 2022. That was an $8 billion project we worked on with some of our partner airlines to renovate and renew the terminal system at LaGuardia. We are currently in the midst of our JFK redevelopment program as well. That should wrap up sometime next year into the following years in terms of our roadway work. That is a $19 billion project to not only renew certain terminals at the airport, we are also refreshing the entire roadway network and system at JFK. You've heard about the Midtown Bus Terminal Replacement Program. That's one of our newer projects that we just kicked off officially as of last year. We started construction of portions of it on this year as well. This will take us into 2032, where we are going to be building a brand new bus terminal in the heart of Midtown Manhattan in Hell's Kitchen. And this will be a $10 billion program for us. Newark Liberty International Airport, we had just opened Terminal A pretty recently back in 2023. That was a major redevelopment program for us where we had redone the entirety of Terminal A. It's now much bigger, it's now much newer, much more modern. That was about a $2.7 billion program. And then for Newark itself, we're also undergoing a replacement of our AirTrain system that kicked off this year, will last us till the rest of this decade. It's about a $3.5 billion program to refresh and replace the entire AirTrain system, as well as rebuild some of the stations. Terminal B is something that's on our horizon. We are undergoing a master planning and vision effort to look at the rest of Newark Airport to see what else we can do, how else we can best renew it, and to think about what we want in the new future Terminal B. But aside from all of that, right, there's another project at Newark Airport that we're working on, which is the Newark Station Access Project. So for those of you who may be familiar with Newark Airport, there's a few ways you can get into and out of Newark Airport, but really one of the most critical ways is by air train via connection via rail. So up on the top of the screen, which is essentially the east, so our north arrow is to the left side. The orientation gets a little bit confusing, but this is the best way to show you where our airport is and where our station is in relation to it. So Newark Airport, the heart of it is here. We have what we call the rail link station. That is a main transfer point for us between New Jersey Transit, Amtrak passengers, as well as the air train. Now, this station is a little bit interesting because it really does not provide access for the local neighborhoods. You can't exit out onto the street if you access this airport, right? The only way in and out right now is via the air train and is via New Jersey Transit and Amtrak. And you can see the location of the station. It is very close to the South Ward, very close to Dayton, very close even to other parts of Newark, but there's no access to it. The only way South Ward residents can get there right now is by bus, which has lengthy travel times. And for a comparison of distances for this station to other major rail stations in the area, right? Newark Penn Station is about 2.5 miles to the north of it. North Elizabeth Station is about 2 miles south of the station. So we are at a very good location, a convenient location for this neighborhood, but it's just people can't really get in it. And so that's what we wanted to do. So this station originally was opened back in 2001. Our intention was to provide connection between Newark Airport as well as the Northeast Corridor, which is a major rail infrastructure line here in this area. We originally constructed it just for that. But as I said, right, there is no access to the neighboring communities. And so for residents in Dayton who are trying to get to Newark airports, it will take them up to 40 minutes to get to the airport or to even Penn Station. And so our solution is to now open the station to the public to let them get to Newark faster, to provide new access points to the existing New Jersey Transit, as well as Amtrak Northeast Corridor rail service. What this will do is help reduce the local residents' travel time to the airport and to Newark Penn Station to about 8 minutes versus the 40 they were originally experiencing. This will help us also create a new one-seat ride to Midtown Manhattan, and a new multimodal hub so that we can help the underserved community and give them a quicker transfer to path at Newark Penn Station to Lower Manhattan. And so to us, right, what we want to do, there's a lot of benefits to what we want to do, and there's a lot of things we want to make sure we're doing as part of this project. As I said, creating this connection will let us enhance the transit and economic opportunities for our host communities residents in the cities of Newark and Elizabeth. It'll help us provide increased mobility for them, especially for those residents who don't have easy access to Newark, despite how close physically they are to the airport. Will help expand job options, reduce commutes, and enhance sustainability for our local residents. It will also improve access to the rail services linking to job centers in Manhattan and in Jersey City. And what we've estimated this will create is, about 1,400 direct and indirect job years, $125 million of indirect construction wages. It'll give you faster and more efficient airport access, and also be new access to rail services and a better, faster connection to PATH. So scoping this project out, we thought really about how we're going to do this. It sounds simple, but with how the station was originally constructed and laid out, there was not an easy way to provide that on-street access to the station without building an additional concourse and a station core. And so to the top of the screen, you can see the 3D Google Earth image of what our train station looked like. Here's our AirTrain rail station, right? Our AirTrain tracks are highlighted in green up top. And then we have our our NEC Newark station just to the middle of this area. We've got Conrail tracks around this area. We have the Amtrak and New Jersey Transit platforms here. So this above head pedestrian connector, right, will connect between these two platforms. But what we needed to do is create a new entry point to get into this building area. And we're doing that with the lot that we have just to the west of this area. So this will, again, create a new entry point to the station. We're going to extend the existing pedestrian bridge to our new 16,800 square foot facility off of Furlan-Heisen Avenue. This facility will also be, as per everything we do, right, ADA accessible. We want to provide real-time bus and train arrival information. We want to provide a pickup and drop-off access for vehicles and include additional accessibilities for pedestrians and bicyclists who are going to the airport. And so just how we're connecting to the existing infrastructure, you can see a bit of a cross section in gray here of what our existing facility looks like, right? So we have the AirTrain tracks are here. Here's the AirTrain station. You can see our little monorail. And then you've got the pedestrian bridge overhead that spans across the train tracks for New Jersey Transit and Amtrak. And then in red is going to be the additional new vertical core that we're going to build. So this is the extended pedestrian connector bridge. And then we're going to build a station in the Furlan-Heisen lot so that we can provide that public access. So as part of the planning out and the scoping for what this lot is going to do, how it's going to connect to the neighborhoods, we thought about what our nearby land use and pedestrian generators are going to be. Because obviously we are designing this to allow access to the local neighborhoods, but where are these folks coming from? Where are the logical origins of pedestrians that are coming into the site or bicyclists? And really, this site is located in a very interesting part of Newark where it's a mix of everything. There's a bit of industrial, there's a bit of commercial sites, there's the highways right above us. We're really bounded by, to the north of us, freeways, interchanges. And to the west of us, right, we've got a giant park there next to Furlan-Heisen. So really our main directional generators for PEDs coming into the site is from the south and from the west portion of the site, simply because of where this location is. And so we took a look and did a walk-to-rail access route sensitivity analysis just to see what we're looking at and see what are some of these key routes. And as I said, we are seeing the key routes coming from the south of the site and from the west of the site. We anticipate a lot of people are going to be entering the site just from the south simply because of where the site is and how it's bounded to the north by the interchanges. And so as part of designing the public space open outside of the station connecting to the roadways, that's what we consider, and that's how we consider placing where our driveways are, where our sidewalks and everything is. So here was the very, very early proposed concept for the drop-off pickup zones, those pedestrian walkways entering the station. So to the right side, right, you can see our existing AirTrain station, and then here's going to be the connector bridge that got extended above with a new vertical core to connect down to the street level. And we were looking at some sort of a vehicular drop-off and pickup area that could take buses, taxis, private vehicles, FHVs, the like. We were looking at a potential pickup drop-off lot, a cell phone lot of some sort. We were also looking at, adding these pedestrian pathways into the site to see what they would look like. And so this initial concept went through several stages of conceptual design in the past few years, and we really looked at adjusting it based on some of the feedback we were getting from the community. And we've heard a few key feedbacks, right? A few things that we want to make sure in each iteration of this concept that we did, we want to make sure we are minimizing the points of conflict between vehicular routing, how cars and buses are getting to the site versus how people and bikes are getting into the site. That's one key thing. We want to make sure we also are creating some flexible frontages and creating some dedicated space for various modes of transportation to drop off and pick up your passengers. Similar to what we do at airports in front of any of the terminals, right? We have dedicated zones depending on what type of vehicle you're in. And that's a concept that we wanted to emulate here as well, because we do see the benefit of separating everybody to make sure there's clear areas where you should go as a passenger if you're picking up, say, a taxi versus if you want to just get on a bus. And so some of the other key factors that we listened to and looked into as part of the community outreach we've done, and we've done extensive ones. We went to the community. We had a lot of open sessions working with the community, workshops, hearing sessions with the community. And here's some of the key things that we've heard from the community. First and foremost, this station needed to be friendly to the community. It needs to be user friendly. We need to make sure it was easy for the residents to get to and for them to use. And that's really the driving principle behind it all. Other very important factors, right? Pedestrian safety, making sure we are providing a safe station for them to access. Vehicular access and circulation, just as critical. We can see a lot of vehicles dropping off, picking up at the station. And then a few other things, right? Public bathrooms. That's something that we're always concerned with when it comes to our facilities, making sure it is user and commuter friendly, the design of it, the operations aspects, and also even the jobs aspects. So all of these key themes eventually ended up making its way into our final product of what we've ended up designing. So just to give you a bit of a high level overview of some of the insights that we've heard from the community and how they went into the design, right? From the community, we heard they wanted things like heated and well-lit bus shelter with seating. They want to make sure that they're not standing, say, in the rain or in the cold waiting. They wanted additional bathrooms. They wanted it to be public user friendly. Digital train and bus station displays, things like that. All the new building space is fully conditioned with AC and with heat, depending on the season it is. There's seating provided near the landscape areas. There's elevators and escalators provided for your access, fully ADA compliant, and that's really just even the design of the interior of the station itself. And in terms of getting to the station, we've heard a lot about making sure that there is easy transit access to the station. And by that, we mean the bus routes, right? There are bus routes right now. New Jersey Transit has 3 bus routes that drop off and pick up in front of Fernald Heights and near our site. The 24, the 37, and 107, we wanted to make sure that there are dedicated bus zones for them to come into the site as needed. We want to they want to make sure that there is Newark AirTrain access every 3 to 5 minutes, which is something that we're accomplishing as part of our AirTrain replacement program. There's also access at the site now to NEC, to the Northeast Corridor lines, as well as New Jersey coastlines. Amtrak itself offers about 16 inbound and 13 outbound trains per day that people can now access. Not only that, those are all the transit ways, but from a bike and ped perspective, dedicated access for them. Bike parking for bicyclists come into the area, and enhanced ped crossing so that they can get to our site safely. and even just dedicated rider pickup and drop off lanes so that they know where to go if they're getting picked up or dropped off by someone. A few other things that we looked into as part of the internal station, right? Security aspect, that's always top of mind for us. We anticipate things like police control, on-site security, on-site customer service personnel. We have ACEs, the red coats, that are there to help assist any customers with questions about our transit options. There will be obviously CCTV camera coverage. There'll be site-wide lighting everywhere, ADA capabilities, high-vis crosswalks, just things that we see are critical to make sure the station stays safe, the site stays safe, and it's easy to access. And obviously, from a jobs perspective, there's always local participation during the construction phase of it as well. From a sustainability and reliancy perspective, this is something we're very proud of. You know, the Port Authority was one of the first public agencies to sign on to the Paris Climate Accords. And so everything that we do, right, goes back to our world-class sustainability and climate resilience guidelines. This is going to be LEED certified, LEED B, D, and C certified equivalents. We are supporting our agency's decarbonization goals by having an all-electric HVAC system, having EV chargers. We're also supporting our agency's clean construction program. So things like low carbon concrete mixes, low emission construction vehicles. These are all things that we've taken into account as part of the overall design for the final station layout and design for our project. And so here's what the station and the site's going to end up looking like, which I'm sure is something that you all were waiting to see. So this is just a rendering for what our future station is going to look like. You can see the bright open airiness of our future frontage. This will be the point where you can walk into the building and you'll be able to get up into the pedestrian bridges to get across into the platforms to your New Jersey Transit trains, your Amtrak trains, as well as to your Newark Air train. There'll be wide open spaces. There'll be greenery. It's going to be just much more inviting of a frontage. And from kind of a top-down perspective of what this area looks like. So again, to the top of this site, this picture is our railing station and our air train tracks, right? So here we are now extending our pedestrian connector bridge, and we've extended it above grade to now connect into the new vertical circulation core, which is down here on the site. And at the core, once you exit the core, you're going to see an entire public space here. It's essentially going to be a multimodal facility, right? We are making space for buses, for taxis, and for hire vehicles like Uber and Lyfts, for private vehicles to pick up and drop off, for bicyclists and pedestrians as well. And we have a little bit of a self-owned lot here that will be EV charger ready as needed. And this will provide you this easy connection from our AirTrain station to now Freehold Hudson Avenue, which is Route 27. And we can get easily to Route 22 from here. We can get easily to the South Ward, to Newark, to really the local neighborhoods from this area. And so now just a zoomed in version of what we anticipate the overall layout to look like. Like I said, here's our existing AirTrain station, our existing pedestrian walkway bridge that spans over our AirTrain station. And now here's the new vertical core. So we are going to have a vertical core here with our main entrance right here where my mouse is. And you can see the crosswalk that leads directly to that. There is spaces laid out for whatever mode of transportation you're taking to get into the site. You can see also there's going to be greenery. It's going to be a welcoming space as well for the community. So to look a little bit at how each mode will get there. If you are a pedestrian or if you are a bicyclist entering and accessing the AirTrain station, the railing station, right? There's two ways you could get in. There, as we said, based on our pedestrian studies, we do anticipate the southern driveway to be the heaviest use. We anticipate that's where everybody is going to be coming from, is using that southern driveway, but we are providing access from the north as well. So there will be north and southern access into the site for bicyclists as well as for pedestrians. You will be walking essentially around the site. There aren't any points at which you're walking and crossing where vehicles are going. So that's one big keystone that we want to achieve, is the separation of vehicles versus pedestrians and bicyclists. So coming from the south, you'll go along the south side of the site. There will be benches there, there'll be seating area in the greenery, and you'll be able to access the main core of the building here. If you're coming from the north side of the site, same thing, right? You'll be walking along the north side of the site, and you will be able to come in and access the core in this area. So now you see that there's also an interesting middle blue arrow here. So that's for anybody who is accessing the bus stops that we're going to be having in this area. So in this case, right, you are going to be crossing a vehicular path, but it will be a wide open space. You'll be able to see cars coming, cars will be able to see you coming, more importantly, and you'll be able to get to your your bus stop as needed. So that is the main path for pedestrians coming in and out. So now in yellow, I'm showing the path for a private vehicle or for an FHV coming out. So for the smaller cars, essentially. So everybody will be accessing through the driveway that we are putting on the north side of the site. This is our main vehicular driveway along Frauenheisen right now. And just a little bit for to place it geographically, right? This south area is the intersection of Frauenheisen and Noble. So here we're opening up the driveway to the north side part of our site so that we can have dedicated vehicular entrance and exits from this area. So you'll be making a turn off of Frauenheisen, entering into the site. Now, as you enter into the site, you hit your first point of decision. You can choose to either go into the cell phone lot, where you're probably a little bit early for your pickup, right? But your person is not there yet. So the cell phone lot is the place we've provided for you to hang out for like 5-10 minutes, waiting for your passenger to get there. Otherwise, you can go straight into the two frontages that we've lined up, three frontages rather. So personal vehicles will have a frontage right here, dedicated pickup and drop-off zone for any personal private vehicles that are making those stops. Taxis will have a space in front of the station as well. There will be a taxi lane of sort in front of the space for taxis to pick up and drop off. And last but not least, we also have a zone up to the north of the site for for-hire vehicles like Uber and Lyft so that they can make their pickup and drop-offs from this area. So 3 separated areas that will be very clearly signed and marked so that you as a driver know where you need to go to pick up your passenger, but also you as a person getting off the air train or getting off the station, coming down, you will know if your mom is picking you up, you know to go to the south side of the site. If you're just hailing a taxi, you can just go straight out the door. Or if you've called an Uber or Lyft, you can go to the north side of the site. So this will be very clearly marked and delineated. But we've also created this frontage in such a way that, in the future, if there are market shares that change, if there are changes that are needed, right? These are flexible frontages that we can shift and adjust as needed. But at this point, we have a very clear starting point as to how we see people getting here. And we've created all of these different spaces for the different modes that we have for people coming in. So last but not least, buses. As I said before, right, there were 3 main bus routes New Jersey Transit has that operate along Frauenheisen that currently has bus stops here. We are going to be providing bus space in our site as well to make sure that they can come in and out of the site and minimize those conflict points, those stoppages for the sites. We're really prioritizing their circulation so that we are making sure we are not impacting bus schedules and bus whatever layovers that they need to make. We are planning further improvements in the future as well. This is just one, this is what we're building out now. We're now working with other agencies to look at improving bus operations by adding a potential signal at the site driveway here to help facilitate movement into and out of the site. But that's at this point, we're still working with our sister agencies to figure that out. But our intention with this layout is that we are essentially prioritizing the bus circulation so that they can just come straight in. They can get into the bus area. They can pull into the bus lane bus stops here. There'll be bus shelters for passengers waiting. They can pick their folks up, and then they can just turn around and get out via the driveway and back into Frauenheisen as if they were just making a quick stop at their original bus stops. And so in a nutshell, right, that's essentially how we're planning on the layout and the design of the station. And so just a few quick milestones to share with you on our project before we enter into the Q&A portion of our day. There's a lot of things that we're very proud of that we've done on this project, and a lot of exciting things upcoming. As part of the coordination efforts, we've done, as I said, extensive community outreach. We've done town halls in the South Ward. We've had coordination with the state, Newark, and Elizabeth officials, as well as your local elected leaders. We've been doing extensive coordination with our regional sister agencies, transportation partners like New Jersey Transit, Amtrak, New Jersey DOT, FAA, as well as PSCNG. And what we've done, like I said, we've incorporated really as much as we can what we've heard from these town halls, from these perspectives into the overall design of our project. We've done an overall high-level operations analysis to start figuring out how we maintain and staff this facility once we eventually open it. And we've had a lot of NWBE and small business diversity information sessions as well to let these firms know how they can get involved with the construction project. So some milestones that we've already hit and some upcoming milestones for us. So in 2024, we secured a property. We actually bought the sites to make sure we have the space to create this public access. So we secured a property back in 2024. We officially issued our contract bid documents, and we had a community meeting to wrap up the community process. And then in 2025, we awarded construction in the first quarter of this year, and we've started construction in the second quarter of this year. We anticipate our station access to be operational by Q4 of 2026. So stay tuned. We're a year and a half away, but we do anticipate on the state and being very excited for when it finally opens. And as we do on other major redevelopment projects, community engagement is something that is important to us, right? We don't just talk to community as we're doing the plan and design. We're also making sure we're talking to community as we're under construction. And so our Newark redevelopment program has community offices in both the cities of Newark and Elizabeth. These are staffed offices. They have office hours where we actually have staff sitting there, and the public is welcome to come in, ask the question, get information, get whatever they need, like answers that they need. We have somebody there dedicated to help respond to any questions the community has, any concerns. We also have a dedicated phone number for the community to call if they have, again, concerns, comments, questions, things like that. So it is something we continue to do as part of our major redevelopment programs. It's something that we're very proud of, and it's something that we truly see the value of, making sure that we are engaging in the community as we're building it. And so one of our exciting milestones, right, we officially broke ground on June 13, 2025. We had a groundbreaking ceremony. As you can see in the background here, here's our existing railing station. So you can see we had a groundbreaking at the site in front of it. This was very well attended. We had a lot of local elected officials come for the groundbreaking. It's something that we're very excited to finally kick off. And we look forward to the end of 2026 when we are officially done with this project. So with that, I will take any questions.
Thank you, Susie. That was a great presentation. And I don't know if you're able to see, there were certainly quite a few questions that were coming in while you were talking.
Yes,
I was
saw
going to
a few
ask.
pop up. I was trying to not get distracted.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad. That's great. And Stephanie's going to go through them in just a moment. I had jotted down something about whether you're going to put a traffic signal at that location, and you covered it. So, you don't have to worry about that. I did have a question though before we dive into the others, and some of them overlapped questions I was going to ask, so I'm off the hook there. But when was the genesis of this project? Do you know approximately when you started work on it, or around then? I mean, if you covered it, I missed it.
Yeah, we've always had an idea that a project like this is needed, right? And I'm going to go back to one of the original slides that we were looking at, and what our challenges are. There were a few projects that we've looked at as part of either Newark redevelopment or other projects where we've thought about fitting this project in as part of those bigger construction projects, but it really wasn't until probably the last 3 or 4 years we decided to pull this out into a separate independent project, because we knew that this was needed, and we wanted to make sure this didn't get caught up in trying to fit it in with the other construction work that we were doing. So really, conceptually, we knew this was needed for a while. but most of the actual conceptual designs, I'll call it, were started within the past 3-4 years.
Really good. Cool. Thanks.
Mhm.
All right. Stephanie, you want to take over for the questions? That'll be great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. And so thank you so much. This is a great presentation. Some of your comments as you were moving into the presentation did address a little bit of these chat questions, but I'm going to just say them all anyway because there might
Yeah.
be some additional things you can add.
Mhm.
So I'll just start from the beginning. Are there any opportunities for transit-oriented development in the immediate area? Have Newark officials considered any rezonings to perhaps create mixed-use corridors more directly connect to the residential areas?
So that I can't speak to as much because obviously this is a City of Newark question, but I will say that in the previous engagements we've had with our sister agencies, they've all been very supportive of this project. Everybody sees the value of a project like this. And so I'm sure that these things people are thinking about it. It's just I just unfortunately can't speak to really what City of Newark is thinking about with their public spaces and public uses.
I'll just jump in. I know I've spent a little bit of time on Furlingheisen, and so it's at least the portion in Elizabeth is more industrial, some storage facilities. There's a great McDonald's if anybody needs to
Mhm.
pick up some Happy Meals for their son. I've done that a few times. So, there is an opportunity. Those facilities are serving a need, but there definitely does seem like there potentially is an opportunity, especially with this project coming. But
Great.
thanks.
Thank you. Just a quick question about parking. Will there be parking at the new station for vehicles and bicycles?
So let's go back to this slide real quick. So not for vehicles, we do not intend for the cell phone lot to be a permanent parking lot, but we are providing bicycle parking next to the station. So there will be bicycle parking for the station.
Thank you. And then another question, with many airport employees using local buses, have you been coordinating with New Jersey Transit on increasing direct local city bus routes,
Mhm.
access to their airport rail station? Do you envision the improved airport rail station can serve as or become a potential terminal anchor point for multiple Essex and Union County routes?
I mean,
Well,
there's always a
you to break that
possibility,
down.
right? There's always a possibility, right? Like
Mhm,
once you build it, this could be a they will come sort of thing.
mhm.
We have been coordinating a lot with New Jersey Transit. Our original walk to rail study actually we did working with New Jersey Transit so we can anticipate based on not just from a bus perspective, from a rail perspective, where are the main or who are the main drivers for this site. So we've worked extensively with them to do this pedestrian study to see how people get into and out of the site. And we've been working with them in terms of bus routes in the area to make sure that we are providing a space for their buses for pickup, for drop off, for whatever they need to. So that is an ongoing process.
Thank you. Then a follow-up. Will this make the station more of a local commuter access point for Manhattan? Will New Jersey Transit adjust the schedule to accommodate commuters?
So in terms of schedule adjusting, I'm not sure, but what I will say is that this provides opportunity, right? And that's really one big thing our project is achieving is we are providing the ability to do this.
Mm.
That this is something that may happen, in the future as time goes on, as usage increases. But the most important thing for us right now is to provide that connection.
Thank you. Here's a question. Security. It seems like there's strong emphasis on planning for security on the site itself. Has the planning team thought about how corresponding uses and urban design choices like neighboring non-transportation related land uses, how those will also help shape security challenges that might affect the station?
Um, A little bit, I think, but really for us, most of what we've been planning on in terms of security perspective is how to secure our site because we are airport adjacent, right? And so there are additional measures we want to take to make sure that we are safe. We are creating a safe space for our airport customers and our passengers, along with the Jersey Transit and Amtrak customers. So most of our security planning has been from that perspective. But that's something that I'm sure our security folks has taken a look into in terms of the neighboring sites and how that impacts what we do in terms of creating a secured area.
That's great. Thank you. And then in regards to the rendering, just noticing how isolated the infrastructure seems to be from the fabric of other land uses that are more bike ped friendly. You did address this a little bit, but it was a further follow-up question. Did the planning team consider a scenario that might have included residential units above the station or a mix of residential and commercial? in other immediately adjacent parts of the parking lot?
So one of the challenges is obviously we are so close to the airport that there is a height limitation in terms of FAA restrictions, right? And so there are a few things I know the planning and design team has taken a look into working with the FAA to see what is possible. I don't believe it was ever we had ever considered building, say, a residential development on top of it, just because of the challenges in the infrastructure and our infrastructure. That said, the site is, as Adam said earlier, right? It's an odd site bordered by parking lots and industrial developments and things like that. So I'm sure that's something that, as the city of Newark looks at the land uses of this area, that they can consider as well.
Great, thank you. No, sorry, so more keep coming in. How do
Mhm.
you expect to or encourage or enforce short duration use and turnover of the cell phone lots and the for hire vehicles?
Yep, so it's a challenge that we've been working out with our security folks. We're working with PPD. Those discussions are still ongoing in terms of how we're going to staff certain things, but we do have a success in operating cell phone lots and operating our frontages at our airports. We don't anticipate there being major problems at this station because it's something that we've dealt with before at our facilities.
Great, thank you. A question about fares. How will fares be differentiated for station users who are boarding the air train and those who are not boarding the air train?
That's a difficult question, and I say this because our folks are actually still trying to figure out from an infrastructure perspective how it's going to be done. So we've designed the layout, obviously, but now as we're undergoing the construction, as we're nearing the station being open, that's something that our folks are working out right now.
Great, thank you. The question you mentioned parking earlier, but seems there will be no long-term parking. What strategies will be employed to enforce that?
So I think it goes back to operating the area like a cell phone lot, right? Like we will be posting regulations that you'll be limited to 15, 20. I'm making these numbers up right now, but like we'll have regulations posted saying, here's the rules of our cell phone lot. Here's how long you can stay, right? And we're figuring out the staffing and enforcement perspective of it. But all the communication outward, all the signing, all the regulations, everything will essentially say, this is a cell phone lot. This is not intended for any sort of long-term parking.
Great, thank you. Question about bus information. Will real-time bus information be provided at the baggage carousels or the bus shelters?
We anticipate having some sort of a real-time bus information at the station itself. So in this area, we're not sure. We don't anticipate there being additional ones at this point. Really, we anticipate it for the station itself for now.
Okay, great, thank you. Just a hello and a glad they're here comment. Then another comment, a question about, will someone who enters this via the new access need to pay to use the air train? It's a air train question again.
Right. So that's another question that we're still working through. We do anticipate our fares to stay what they are. So we do still anticipate you needing to pay the air train fare to utilize the air train system.
Thank you. Now this is a question a little bit about the past. Can you recount when and how the original passenger facility charge legislative restrictions that prevented local facing access to the airport rail station were overcome? Let me know if you need me to read that again.
I do, but I'm an engineer. I'm not quite in the legal legislative portion of things. So whatever answer I give would probably, unfortunately, be inaccurate. So I will have to take that back.
Okay, great. All right. And then just an infrastructure question. How will local road infrastructure be affected by increased bus traffic?
So we don't anticipate on there being an increased bus traffic, right? So when we were doing the traffic study, working with New Jersey Transit, working with New Jersey DOT, we did it based on their existing bus route and their existing scheduling. And so we ran a traffic study along the corridor of Furlan Heisen, anticipating what their bus schedules is and what the growth rate's going to be in this area to anticipate additional increases in traffic and how that would impact the entire quarter, working under New Jersey Transit, like New Jersey DOT's traffic study, like scoping needs. So when we worked all of that out, we don't anticipate there being a major increase of traffic along the Route 27 corridor. The main increase we see probably is pedestrians, honestly, coming to the site, which is why to the south of the site, we are adding a pedestrian beacon there to allow for pets to have a safer crossing into the site. But from a car's perspective, we don't see a major increase that changes how the corridor needs to function, we'll put it that way.
Great. Thank you. Yep, that's clear. A question about traffic controls. Can you speak more to the traffic controls within the roundabout where there's more modal conflicts, especially on the northern end of the project area?
So the roundabout in this area, right? Sorry, here's my mouse. In this area, right? So in this area, it will be as much free flow as possible. There will be a stop for folks who need to make the turnaround. These are really, there's a little bit of recirculation traffic we anticipate, but really majority of traffic we see are going to be going straight out. So there is a stop control here. Here for vehicles exiting the cell phone lot, it is a right turn that they will have to stop and then merge with existing traffic. So for the most part, it's just going to be stop control.
Okay. Thank you. And I think that is the last one for now. So thank you so much for answering all these. These are
Well,
great questions.
You're not off the hook yet, Susie. Thank you, Stephanie. I've got a couple
We've
more.
still got plenty of time, so.
So I'm just going to also, this might give folks a chance to think of other questions that they've got. You might have covered this already, but I think you talked early in your presentation about the opportunity that the project gives for jobs, particularly, I think, in construction. How did that work? Did you, like, what steps did the Port Authority take to try and share information about those opportunities with the community and, bring folks in?
Yeah, so as part of any major construction work that we do, redevelopment work that we do, we hold industry briefings with smaller firms, with MWBE firms, which are minority and women-owned business firms. That's MWBE is our official acronym for this. We also worked with a lot of small businesses, firms as well. Really, in terms of diversity of firms, we've worked with a lot of various different firms to hold briefings to let the industry know that this is something that's happening. We also actively have these opportunities up on our website as well, and we publish it in other engineering records and places like that so that people know that this is an upcoming job, this is coming, that they can be on the lookout for it. As part of our community outreach process, as part of our community outreach offices, right? That's also another place where firms can walk in and ask for more information. And even if the staff there can't answer immediately, we can at least come back and give you an answer later based on your questions. So there's a variety of outreach ways we've done, but really the industry outreach is the biggest thing that we do to make sure we're reaching out onto all these firms to let them know that this is a construction project that is coming.
That sounds really great. And hopefully that's bearing fruit right now with the project now only what, 12, 14 more months till completion.
Right.
So hopefully they're hard at work right now. Thank you. The other question I had was a little bit about micromobility. So this does seem like it could potentially be an opportunity for e-scooters or e-bikes or something along those lines as like a station of, I don't know if it'd be, I don't know what Newark has. I think I was looking up, like maybe there's a Newark Go, or I know there's Veo micromobile, other opportunities in New Jersey where folks might be able to get a scooter from their neighborhood and get over here without having to, use any of these other vehicle types. Is that something that's been discussed, or?
It hasn't been and it's specifically designed for yet, but we're always on the lookout, right, for new micromobility trends. And as some of these trends get market share, that's when we can go back to our frontage's needs to see where we can fit them in. Because we're always anticipating something new to come, right? Like Uber and Lyft was something that I
True.
won't say caught all of us by surprise, but it certainly caught a lot of people by surprise. Really, the much greater increased market share in Uber and Lyft and how we needed to redesign our frontage. And that's one of the factors that led us into the philosophy of creating what we call flexible frontages, which, yes, we're building them out for specific modes and we are signing them, but we are making it so that if we need to switch modes, right, we can put more things in there. We can fit them, squeeze them in elsewhere. So that's really our intention with the flexible frontage. And as we see increased market share in some of these modes, that provides us an opportunity to go back to reassess what the frontage and how it's operating and figure out, all right, like we have this many people now using this versus this many people using this. How do we reassign sort of these spaces and get them more space?
I mean, that's a great point. The for-hire vehicle space here is, relatively new. Even a cell phone lot is something that's, still only within the last, I don't know, several years or so. I've used the cell phone lot at Newark Airport, and it's always an exciting challenge to figure out how to get from that lot back to the actual terminals because it's quite circuitous, but it works.
Right.
So, those kinds of opportunities in the future will be certainly good to hear about. So thanks. I think we might have had another question or two come in, Stephanie.
Yes, yes. There's a question about bike parking. Is it secure bike parking or only bike corrals?
So right now we anticipate there being bike corrals, but I could be wrong. I'll have to double check with our project architects on that. But we have been talking about a variety of parking methods for bikes.
And that is the last one for now that I see.
All
here.
right. I'll give folks a couple of seconds if they want to type anything in. Because you've answered my questions. So
I
this
will
was
put
a
in the APA
oh yes,
credits page just in the chat, so
Yeah.
it's back there for you now.
that's great.
You can
Thank
use
you,
to get
Stephanie.
credits for your AICP.
Thank you again. Thank you. Susie, this was terrific. Really appreciate you. I know we saw this presentation several months ago, so great that you could bring at a different event. So it's great that you could bring it to NYMTC
Hopefully I
here.
didn't bore you too much since it's your
I
second
think
time
I think
seeing
it was riveting. I'm seeing you're getting great comments. So,
Yes,
everybody's
these are
really
great
excited about this.
presentations and thank yous.
Yep. So thank you again. Yep. Nope. It's all congratulations. No more questions, it looks like. So I'm going to thank you. I'm going to thank everybody at the Port Authority that might have helped you put this together. Our own NYMTC team for putting this together too. And everybody that joined us. Thank you again for coming and have a great afternoon.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the
Thank
invite again.
you.
Thank you. Take care.